welcome back. Today I'm going to cover the American Godzilla movies, most of which are in the Monsterverse. I'll just cover the Monsterverse films, and then I'll also cover the Emmerich film. I'll do that later because I don't want to start you with the depressing awful one. Godzilla's rights have been bought from Toho a few times in the past. They've always been trying, from the early 80s, I've been trying to do Godzilla films in America, as well as the Godzilla films in Japan. There's always rights issues, and there's always tied to what the Japanese are planning to do. And it seems to be every time the Americans get interested, Japanese suddenly start a new series. As if it's almost like they've got interest, and for America they'll do more of Godzilla films. But, because the first interest came early 80s, and suddenly Godzilla had been down for like 8 years or something, and suddenly they've made Godzilla 84. And then that whole series went on until the rights to Godzilla were finalised from Columbia, and they made an Emmerich film, so that series finished. Then after the Emmerich film was a disaster, they started the Millennium series, which went on for a bit, then it closed down. Then Godzilla's been out for like 10 years. Suddenly there's an American film again from Gareth Edwards, and so there's interest in Japanese Godzilla films again. It seems a weird like yin and yang thing. They're tied to each other. I've already covered two eras of the Godzilla films before. There's some other videos I need to do. I need to do Shin Godzilla, which came out after the 2014 American Godzilla film. I've started to do the spin-off Mothra films, and there's other like monster films running about that weren't Toho as well that are quite interesting. But this is just the American ones and how they evolved. So actually I will start with the Emmerich one, just get it over with, because it won't be very long by describing it. The Emmerich one came out in 98 and was a disaster almost instantly. I mean, it was just hated. It was released and they hid the monster for so long, so it guaranteed people were curious to see what the monster was like, what the monster looked like, and it turned out to be a giant iguana, and everyone saw the film. A massive opening weekend, and it fell off a cliff instantly because everyone knew it was garbage. This was Emmerich's follow-up to Independence Day, and there has never been there's been very few follow-ups to a big hit that's been this disastrous. This was just like a nightmare. It was like everyone saw it instantly and saw it as being the worst film possible from Godzilla. The Godzilla must have looked terrible. It was maybe people didn't understand Godzilla. Godzilla was fighting the military for the first half of the movie, and then he seemed to die, and there was some weird monsters that were very much like raptors who were his offspring that had to blow up, and then they fought Godzilla again in the end. But it didn't really feel like Godzilla. There was no Moth, there was no King Ghidorah, there was no nothing. It was just this mess. The characters were awful. There was no atmosphere, there was no sense of fun. It was just a terrible film. I did not watch it again to make this video. I was like, what's the point? It's really, life's too short. The funny thing is, when I saw it in the cinema when it came out, and because I'm a Godzilla fan, so you had to see it, even though I kind of suspected it would be good. So I went to see it in Glasgow, and it was a packed house first weekend, and the guy behind me making these really weird noises, as if he was going to be sick. He smelled bad, as if something was up with him. So I had this guy behind me the whole viewing of it, making me really nervous and suspicious, because I thought he was going to be puking his guts out or something. Just really, it was one of the weirder experiences I've had in cinema. On the plus side, it kept me awake. I mean, that helps. So that's good. That's Emmerich Godzilla. You don't need to see it. It's useless. It's the last Godzilla film you should ever watch. Only if you're a masochist and you've got some booze. You need booze, I think, for this film. You need lots of booze. You probably need to drink to blackout levels, really, to get through this film. It's so bad. So after that, everyone was disappointed. Everyone hated it, and Godzilla was dead in America for a decade and a half, and no one wanted to touch it for the longest time because it was, its debut was this notoriously hated film, this film that was pretty much loathed by everybody. You know, I don't think anybody liked it. I mean, there's no respect for this film at all. Then, like, I think in 2010 they started getting interested again doing Godzilla. Legendary bought the rights. Legendary, who'd done like they had been doing stuff like the Clash of Titans remake. Then they decided to invest in new Jurassic Park films. They invested in Del Toro's Pacific Rim. So they get into monster movies. They were really into monster movies. So they invested in Godzilla, and they hired Gareth Edwards, who had done a film called Monster, which is a terrific film set in South America. The South American blocked off after something lands and creates mutations. And monsters, and this couple trying to get, well, not a couple at the beginning, but they're trying to get from South America back to America through this like monster layers and things like that. It's wonderfully atmospheric. It's really good. So obviously that film set Gareth Edwards up as a force to be reckoned with, like someone who could do good effects and good atmosphere on a low budget. So this was his big budget debut. So he made this, and he also made Rogue One, the Star Wars film. And he's had some problems like making films in the studio system. Like it seems it's not been the best match, because his Monster, while it was a terrific film, it wasn't narrative heavy. It was events happen, this happened, that happened. It was about the characters come through this event. And I think he does have an episodic interest. And films, in the blockbuster films, tend to be much more like A to B to C to D. And his films tend to wander towards the destination. Like, if you look at Rogue One, it's going from place to place to get this information, but it's a travelogue through Star Wars land. You know, it goes to various different places, and it's really interesting in the atmosphere of different places. And yeah, there's a narrative link. But it is kind of one of the more travelogue-y Star Wars films. I really like Rogue One. It's one of my favourite new Star Wars films. I think it's wonderful. But it was reshot, and you know, there was some adjustments made. I think it was a case of the central narrative wasn't as strong as they wanted, and they needed to adjust things to make it work and be more solid. And I think his style goes one way and Hollywood films go another way, and maybe he has to adjust his style, or maybe he has to find other financing, but it seems obvious he's a certain film he likes, and I don't think I think it's more based on atmosphere than narrative. So Godzilla is the one where we can get away with that a bit more than Star Wars, where there is a travelogue element to it, and it does have a narrative, but the narrative itself is going from Japan to America to Japan, back to America, and it's following this guy who is in the first section. You see him as a kid, and there's an attack at a nuclear station, and his mother dies. His father survives, his mother dies, and from then on his father's been trying to figure out what happened. His father's played by Bryan Cranston. Aaron Taylor Johnson plays him as a grown-up man, and he's played as a kind of isolated figure. He's a person who's moved around the world a lot, and he's distanced from people. He's a bomb disposal expert, which is like a suggestion he's someone who is addicted to a certain kind of lifestyle. And he seems to be addicted to danger, but he's very quiet. And he's working in the army, but he's a very obsessive character, which doesn't work so well for mainstream cinema. I really liked that. I thought it was a really good choice, but it meant that Aaron Taylor Johnson kind of got a lot of slack by the critics by saying the character's a bit one note, and why did they kill off Bryan Cranston so quickly, his father, who was much more human. But I'm taking this jumper off because it's really warm now with this light. But I think it was a good choice. I think you could say there was some writing flaws though. I think they could have added some stuff that made the character, that would accent that element of the character a bit more, that he may be more addicted to stuff like this than he lets on. Because the narrative is how he's going around the world trying to solve this mystery. And he seems very much based on, his character's surname is Brody, and he's very much based on the way she had a character in Jaws. And he's like a quieter man, and much more a family man than a risk taker. But he's also a risk taker for his job. So I think there was kind of a mismatch there. They never quite figured out. And they never quite gave the actor enough material. But because I thought the performance itself was good and very quiet and very isolated, I think it really worked. But I'm in the minority in that one, so there you go. But this film pretty much goes him going back to get his father out of jail because his father goes into the wrong area that's illegal. It's been the area where the nuclear meltdown took place apparently has been cut off. No one can go there. And it turns out there's no nuclear meltdown took place. There was no nuclear material at all there. And Cranston's trying to go back to find his work material because it would prove certain things. Of course they get caught, and this organisation, this organisation called Monarch, that's kind of the focus of the Monsterverse film. That's the organisation that controls everything. The Monsterverse is very suspicious of why they're there. Of course, that's when we find out that they have a monster living in the nuclear reactor that's sucking out all the radiation that tries to the monster. The monster escapes, goes haywire, kills a lot of people, including Cranston, and then it's pretty much a focus on what's this monster up to. But the Taylor Johnson character just wants to go home to his family who are in San Francisco. So no matter where he goes, trying to get home, where he travels to Hawaii, that gets attacked. He gets to America. Wherever he goes, that's where the monsters seem to be going, so he seems to be linked to the monsters in some way. Not in a narrative plot way, just like the way the story develops. So that's why the film has such a weird feel to it. It's like half Edwards, half studio. Like, in some ways it would have been easier if they just dragged him into the actual plot quicker, but they didn't. That's what makes it more interesting though, because you see he's not trying to be involved, he just wants to get home. But as this monster escapes, this is where Godzilla comes up from the scene. Godzilla's out to take the monster out, and Godzilla starts tracking the monster. There's a beatdown Hawaii, a terrific beatdown Hawaii. We don't really see Godzilla at that point. You're still seeing bits of Godzilla, you don't see the full thing. And you're just seeing Godzilla build up and build up and build up. You're seeing bits of Godzilla, you're seeing bits of the monsters, you're seeing the monsters attack, the aftermath. And it's all about the pacing of build up and waiting to see what comes next. And that's just wonderful with the film. It's just this sense of you always have to wait and wait and wait. You're seeing a lot of it through the point of view of the people, which is mainly Aaron Taylor Johnson. He's like, you're seeing it from his point of view a lot of the time as he sees bits of monsters. He's in the situations where he's attacked and he has to, you see what he sees, but you don't see the full monster for a long time. Whether it be the antagonist with these two mutos who are trying to get together and lay these eggs that will create a lot more mutos, or Godzilla who's going to fight the mutations, because it turns out Godzilla's a good guy. So sometimes he's a bad guy, sometimes he's a good guy in the Japanese films, but in this one he's a good guy and he's out to protect people from these monsters. So that's the basic the plot, and it builds and builds to this massive attack in San Francisco that trashes the entire city as Godzilla finally takes down the monsters. It's my favourite of the Monsterverse movies, even though there are flaws. I mean, there's, as I said, the style of what Gareth Edwards seems to be going for, which is a much more episodic thing, and the needs of a narrative, a tight narrative within the story of getting a character from A to B to C, are kind of at odds with each other the whole time, and that creates a tension, which means the audience has to believe this guy's trying to get home, but also has to believe he's an expert who do these really important things with bombs. And I think they kind of get in the way of each other as a story, but the actual narrative of he has to go to Japan to get his dad. He has to go to this zone, which is this haunted zone, which feels very reminiscent of some of the later Godzilla films in the Millennium series. Then there's this, travel back through Hawaii, starting to see the rise of the monsters as he travels back. Being in a train is attacked by one of the monsters before Godzilla fights a monster at an airport. Watching the water flow through Hawaiian resort as Godzilla rises from the sea. All of it's terrific. And eventually the big final scene, which is like 40 minutes long, at San Francisco, as these monsters trash the city and trash each other. So you're seeing the point of view of Johnson's wife, played by Elizabeth Olsen, who he's trying to get back to. And she's like a nurse in the city. See from her point of view of her trying to get a child out in the city, and her seeing the city getting trashed from her view. Aaron Taylor Johnson trying into the city and trying to drop a bomb on Godzilla, on the Mutos. So he has to disarm this bomb that's been grabbed by the Mutos earlier on. It's in the city. He has to go and disarm it to stop the city getting blown up. So he has to do this halo jump. So you're seeing it from the high and the low, and in between those two views you're seeing Godzilla fight the Mutos. It's wonderful. The whole thing's very atmospheric, and that last 40 minutes, even if people didn't like the film, I have to admit the last 40 minutes was gorgeous. It was really amazing. Before that, I was still completely engaged, but there was some script problems, but it was like a travelogue that it seemed like there was different people with different views of how it should proceed, and not one, like, the kind of story thing of this guy trying to get home was very strong, but it was weakened by the fact that they had to keep on making him an expert to try and get him into these situations that kind of got in the way of his journey. But it didn't matter ultimately, because the monster stuff was still great, the atmosphere was still terrific, and the build-up of the Godzilla, finally seeing Godzilla, really made it worthwhile. So when he finally arrived and finally became a force to be reckoned with, it was amazing. So good. I love the 2014 Godzilla. It's wonderful. Then we have Kong Skull Island, which is another Monsterverse film. I'll touch on it briefly. It's wonderful. It's a really pulpy movie. It's about them fighting Skull Island in the 70s. And the monarch finds it. They get them military to go with them to this island. These guys are coming back from Vietnam after the war was over, just ended, and there's lots of one or two soldiers like Samuel Jackson who are really annoyed that they lost the war. The rest of the soldiers want to get home, but they have to go and do this mission before they get home. And they end up in Skull Island, get attacked by Kong because he just sees them as people who shouldn't be there, because Kong's a guy who protects the islanders from the other monsters. And so Kong's a good guy, but because they get attacked so brutally early on, some of the military guys, especially led by Samuel Jackson, wants to take down Kong. And other ones, played by like Tom Hiddleston and Brie Larson, they are more sensible and they're more interested in the island and they want to get off the island. But they can respect who Kong is and they respect what he does for the island. So so the fight between the two groups of humans, while they're trying to survive on this island that's for monsters. And it's wonderful. Kong is amazing. He looks amazing in this film. Not quite as good as the original. I mean, the original Kong had more character. And the Peter Jackson Kong had more details. But this Kong's still wonderful. It's great fun. He'll fight anybody who tramples on his island. He's fighting against these scary monsters who don't care, and they're growing. And so is Kong, and if Kong goes down, they could take over the island and cause havoc and escape the island. So it's basically you're with Kong as he tries to defeat these monsters and tries to take down Samuel Jackson's plans to kill him as well. It's silly as hell, it's pulpy, but it's wonderful. It's really wonderfully done. It's just a big daft monster movie. It's all it tries to be, that's all it is. All the actors are in the joke. They all know they're playing. John Goodman's in it as well as the head of the Monarch. There's lots of supporting characters who are there to die, but they know they're there to die. The actors do, so they play along. Everyone seems to be having fun making this film. It seems to be, it reads as a film made by people who know what they're doing. This is the film we're making, that's it. It's wonderfully silly. I'd happily watch it anytime. It's just wonderfully done. I still prefer the Gareth Edwards one because I like the seriousness of that one, the atmosphere. But this is still a great time. Now we finally have Godzilla King of the Monsters. There's another film coming out called Godzilla vs Kong, which is not out yet, but it'll be out next year. So Godzilla King of the Monsters is a new one. It's made by Michael Dougherty, who made Trick or Treat and Krampus, two films I really liked. Trick or Treat was an anthology movie. Krampus is it's a Christmas movie about an evil Santa. King of the Monsters is a great fun film that has a lot more monsters than the original Godzilla. There's like tons of monsters. You get Mothra, who's a good monster who's protecting Earth. You have King Ghidorah, who's the evil monster who's always trying to defeat everybody. He comes in space. He's the three-headed monster. And you've got Rodan, who's the kind of like the backup to King Ghidorah. He's like the second tier villain in the Godzilla universe. You know, Rodan's good. King Ghidorah's better. You know, and Godzilla can beat them all. And it's a blast. It's a lot of fun. But I think it's the weakest of the three films. You know, it doesn't have the... Because there's so many monsters, it doesn't have the build-up of the original. And it doesn't have the fun factor of Skull Island. Skull Island is people always in the run, always in the move. It allowed eccentric actors like John C. Reilly to really do something. This one you have a lot of actors, a lot of good actors who are saying lines that are pretty cheesy. And there's some plot holes in this one again that's don't make quite much sense. There's a whole plot is to release the monsters, the environmentalists are trying to release the monsters so that Earth can be returned to its natural state, because they see the monsters as titans who, when Earth is in danger, will come and destroy the threat and allow the Earth to regrow. Because whenever these monsters arrive, the radiation from them ends up helping plant life grow wherever they are. So Vera Farmiga plays this mother whose son was killed in the first Godzilla film. Her son died in the San Francisco attack. So she's going a bit mad. She's got a daughter with her, and her daughter has a tag along really to this plot where Farmiga and Charles Dance are basically going to different bases and releasing the monsters or waking them up, because Monarch has found them and has them asleep a lot of the time and is just monitoring them, try to work out what to do with them. The military wants to kill them all, which doesn't really work very well. Well, the Japanese scientist from the first film is back, and his view is Godzilla is the king of the monsters. They will kneel to the king. They will, they're pack animals, and they will do what Godzilla tells them. And since Godzilla's on our side, we be next to Godzilla. Kel Chandler's here as well, playing the father of the girl and the ex-husband of Vera Farmiga. He's going with them to try and... He works with animals, so he's the one that sees all the animal instincts of these monsters and starts to point them out. So as you can probably tell from a description, there's lots of plots going on. And the plots are just the excuse for the next big action scene. This one, unlike the first one, is pretty much action after action scene. It's like, you've got like... the other one, you see the buffer Mothra as in the first stage. Then... we see the King Ghidorah in ice. He gets exploded out of ice and he starts attacking, and instantly leads to Godzilla vs King Ghidorah in Antarctica, the first big fight. Then you've got Rodan woken up and he escapes from a volcano. He was hidden in a volcano, which he explodes from a volcano because he feeds off volcanic, just that the volcano itself, life force. And then all the other monsters start to rise as well after they realise, like Ghidorah and Rodan have risen, and Godzilla's out and about, and Mothra's out. So they're all rising, and King Ghidorah's summoned them to do his bidding, because Ghidorah is the evil one who wants to destroy the Earth. And basically Godzilla has to face him down and take him out so he can lead the monsters. And that's basically the plot. But you get like tons and tons of explosions and monster fights, and just it's great fun. I mean, the whole thing is great fun. The whole movie is about the excess of these monster fights. There are human characters they always have to come back to for these little human stories that we have to act as if we care about, and we don't really. They're not that important. It's just they're there. They're kind of confused. Like, you never quite understood how much the daughter knew about Veronica's plan, and it means when she turns on her mother, you're never quite sure was she originally in the plan or not, because it's always very vague. It always seems like she knew more than... It's almost like they figured out the more she knew, the worse she looked. So we can't have her known that much, but it makes the character very vague. And there's lots of stuff like that, like people talk in the most obvious way about stuff, and it's like probably the weakest writing of any of the three films, but because it's a Godzilla, it still feels like a Godzilla film, because that's what the Japanese Godzilla films are like. So that doesn't bother me. It's just like, if it'd almost be better as a silent film where you used to the monsters and then, you cut out all the dialogue with people. It would work better, because a lot of stuff that explained to you could have been done with a look or some atmosphere, but now you have to explain it, and it's like, I don't need that. Half the dialogue could have been gone straight away in this film. But the monsters are great. The monsters are terrific, especially Ghidorah. Ghidorah in 3D. I've seen all these films in 3D, but Ghidorah in 3D is great, because these layers of, because three heads moving and this long neck. It's always a threat of wherever the neck's going to go, and wherever because they always bite anything. And when he goes against Godzilla, it's always great, because Godzilla's this tank going at him, and Godzilla will just use his fire breath on him, and it's just great. There's some wonderful sequences, like when Godzilla gets injured by the this army thing. He goes to Atlantis to try and recover, and they have to take a nuclear bomb to him to give him nuclear energy so he can go and fight Ghidorah again. Because the army's made a mistake, and that's how he got injured. And Ken Watanabe, as the Japanese scientist from the first one, goes there and delivers it himself, because if you go with his bomb, the place is so radioactive you can't survive, so he sacrificed his life to give Godzilla the nuclear explosion to go and fight. And it's just wonderful, and it's a terrific sequence, and there's always anything to do within the monsters is terrific. When Mothra finally comes out of the cocoon to be Mothra rather than just from stage one, it looks gorgeous. It's like the lights go everywhere. It is beautiful, and seeing Rodan flying using CGI and attacking things is terrific. I mean, all the monsters are great. All the monsters that come out after they've been called by King Ghidorah are just wonderful. I mean, it is genuinely a terrific monster movie. Just you wish they'd kind of cut down the dialogue a bit. But even despite what I've said, all of these three movies are worth seeing if you're a Godzilla fan. They're all great fun. But I'm not sure how good they are for the general audience. I think they are for Godzilla fans. They're just not like mass audience films. I mean, I don't expect to be any more Godzilla films after Kong vs Godzilla. I just don't expect it. I think the series has slowly went downhill, like, in box office. So if it ends after Godzilla vs Kong, that's fine. If the Japanese and Toho start to make Godzilla films again, I'll be very happy. But I love Godzilla films. These are great fun. If you can see them in 3D, that's better. But even 2D, they're still good. But I still like the first one the best. I mean, the Gareth Edwards one, because it's more atmospheric and just build up, and you're seeing Godzilla's foot, you're seeing bits and bobs of Godzilla, you're getting the scale of Godzilla as his foot knocks away a plane and things like that. And just the whole build up when Godzilla first came on land, as just the waves from around Godzilla ends up flooding this whole town. It's just great. I mean, it's just wonderful moments that the sequel didn't really get as well. And even Kong Skull Island couldn't quite get that kind of majesty of this monster. And Godzilla taking on those mutants in the first one, there's a real power to it because the atmosphere is so great. So even the mistakes made by the development of the story in the middle doesn't matter. It's even in the third one the same way, or the second Godzilla film, the third one in this Monsterverse, it's the same thing. There's all this confusion about who knew what when for the different plans people are doing to move this story on. It doesn't matter ultimately, because every 10 minutes another action scene that gets you to the next bit, and it's like that's what you're waiting for, and you can't wait for Godzilla to basically kick Ghidorah's ass, which he does brutally. But Ghidorah is a good enough monster that he makes Godzilla really earn it, and it's wonderful because they understand the monster fight so well, and the kind of monsters that the human stuff doesn't matter so much. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope it wasn't too rambling, because I love Godzilla films, and I'm not sure how great the videos are for Godzilla because I'm just a fan really. So I hope you enjoyed that. I'll be back soon with another video.